Alright y'all, welcome back to That Engineering Girl. Let's get into it. Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing the Microsoft Surface Laptop 4 15-inch laptop. I've been using this laptop for about 3 months now during the duration of my internship. That is not good English. During my internship, I've been using this laptop as a developer, so please bear in mind that my review is going to be from a developer perspective. So someone who's used, Visual Studio Code, someone who's tried to connect to a remote server or computer, someone who's, used a Windows terminal, that kind of thing, right? And I've also used almost all of the Windows the Office 365 apps, so like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all that jazz. I've done the basic stuff, OneNote. I've done pretty much everything I think I do in my personal life, including using the browser. I particularly used Edge just so I could try it out. I've never used Edge before, so that's what I used for 3 months. And so yeah, that's the background behind this review. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so first I want to go over the specs of the laptop so you can keep those in mind. These do make a huge difference. So for example, if I was reviewing a 4 GB RAM computer and I was complaining about how it's super slow while trying to connect to a remote server, run a local database, I don't know, do 3 different things, have 100 tabs open, that doesn't make sense. Like, that's on me. That's my fault that I'm using 4 GB RAM. So it needs to be reasonable, and that's why I'm going to explain these specs. Okay, so with that said, the particular laptop that I'm using, its processor is AMD Ryzen 7. First time using an AMD processor, AMD Ryzen 7, Microsoft Surface Edition. If you're super particular and if you're super into this stuff, you might also be curious about the clock speed. That's 200 gigahertz. I know that when I was buying my MacBook, I did pay attention to the clock speeds and the different clock stuff. So I don't remember them at the top of my head, but the different clock stuff. So that's the clock speed. The RAM, this is important. The RAM is 16 gigs, so 16 gigabytes. That's pretty standard, I think, in the tech world. As a developer, 16 gigs is pretty standard, especially if you're going to be running virtual machines. And then in terms of SSD, which is the hard drive on the computer, so where you store all your files and all of that jazz, that is 512 gigabytes, okay? And I did not explain what RAM is. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's essentially your scratch space as you're using your computer. If I was to bring it down to a very low touch kind of explanation, it's basically your scratch space when you turn on your computer. When you turn it off, all of that is wiped, essentially, okay? Okay, so with those specifications out of the way, I'm actually gonna show you the laptop now. Okay, so this is the laptop here. It is very chic, very cute. I'll mention that when I talk about the good things, because aesthetic is important. But anywho, this is the laptop, matte black. So yeah, that's the front, and then when I open it up, it's as expected, a touch screen, and then the keyboard and the trackpad. I can't actually turn this on because it's a company laptop, and I just want to be careful with confidentiality stuff. So this is all I get to show you. So with that said, let's get into the bad, because this laptop, oh my god, this laptop tortured me for 3 months. Okay, there's a few good things, but let's start off the bad so we can end on a good note. Okay, so the very first thing that really annoys me about using this is its lagginess, like the latency with task switching. Oh my god, it killed me, the latency. Oh my god, it kills my soul. What I mean by latency is, say you have 100 tabs open in Microsoft Edge. Now, I know that there is the variable in this equation where I'm using Edge, whereas, obviously I'm using Safari on my MacBook. But mainly I do think that this is a laptop thing, because I have used Edge in the past on some other work laptops. So I do think this is a laptop specific pain point, if you will. So let me get back to explaining what I'm saying. So you have maybe 10, 20 tabs open in Microsoft Edge. You're using one tab, you open another tab, do some searching, open maybe 5 tabs, and then you go back. And we have some noise. So you go back, that tab, it'll be a white screen for a few seconds while the laptop tries to, oh my god, the noise. While the laptop tries to figure out what to show, what was this web page. And when you're doing this type of task switching a lot, especially because as a developer, you're searching a lot on Google, you're reading a lot of Stack Overflow posts, it gets really, really frustrating when you're constantly trying to switch tabs and you have to wait those couple of seconds for your computer to figure out what to show you. It gets really, really, really frustrating. Okay, I put my hair up because it was getting very, very hot. But let's move on to the second negative. So the search on Windows, I'm not sure what it's called, maybe Cortana. No, it's not Cortana. Cortana is the AI PA, I guess. But the search bar at the bottom, you know how you have the start menu and then you have the search icon. When you press that, you can search different apps and that kind of thing. It kills me how slow it is. Oh my, a lot of these things are going to be about latency because I'm not sure what is up. I'm not sure if it's the processor that's making all of this you know, this domino effect occur where everything has this latency, but this absolutely destroys me because I often search for VS Code, I search up like terminal, I maybe will search up, you know, Excel, different things, you know. I prefer to use the search menu rather than the start menu because that's just how I work on Windows. And so this latency every single day takes a part of my soul, okay? It takes a part of my soul. That's number 2. Number 3, I would almost say this is the deal breaker for me. Like, I personally would not buy this laptop because of this. Okay, so number 3 is how this laptop reacts to relatively heavy workloads. I don't want to say heavy because I don't consider it to be a heavy workload, but I mean, it's more like you're using your laptop. You don't have one application open. No, you have maybe Visual Studio Code open, you have maybe PowerPoint, no, not maybe Excel, maybe Word, you know. The problem comes when I use Teams, not even with video, when I'm on a call with, say, my manager, no video, remember, and I share my screen to show him something or to work through a problem. What often happens is my computer starts getting very slow and glitching. Now, I will say this doesn't always happen, but it happens often enough where it's annoying me a lot. So what happens is, as I'll be typing or something, the computer will just freeze. And as my manager is talking, I'm trying to take notes, and then I'm panicking, thinking, I need to write this down, but my computer is frozen. I also don't want to touch anything just in case the entire thing crashes. And it's a super stressful situation that happens every couple of weeks. And it's so, so, so frustrating. That would be personally the deal breaker for myself, where I can't really trust to run heavy workloads on my computer. That's exactly the reason why I switched from my old MacBook Air to my current MacBook Pro. Now moving on to the next negative, I would say, or the disadvantage to this laptop that I've noticed, which is sort of related to the very first negative that I mentioned, is that not only is Edge slow in switching tabs, but in general on Windows, switching application to application or windows between applications. Say I have 2 OneNote windows open because, you know, I need to be in one notebook and another notebook at the same time. I've noticed that switching between windows or switching between applications and trying to find a particular window can be quite slow. It's because you'll be hovering over the icon, but your computer takes a few seconds to, you know, load up the different windows, figure out, you know, which one's which, maybe even show you a preview. Sometimes I don't even see a preview, and so it can get quite frustrating when there's already so many other latency issues. And this is another one of my really big pet peeves. Oh my god, like huge pet peeves with this laptop is maybe like once every couple of weeks, at this point maybe even every once in a week, when I start up my computer at the beginning of the day, I'll get this error that says, you know, you need a BitLocker key, something has gone wrong, what do you want to do? I'll just choose to skip, and then eventually I have to press restart now. It's gotten to the point where this actually happens 4 times in a cycle before my laptop actually starts up properly. So let me actually rephrase. What the error is, your laptop didn't start up properly, you need a BitLocker key, and then blah blah blah. That's the error message. And so I have to do this 4 times in a row, usually, until my laptop boots up properly. And you know, if you're paying almost, you know, 15,000 plus for a laptop, I expect better performance, I expect better reliability personally. All right, now you might be thinking, Ruha, wow, that's a long list of negatives. And yes, I agree, it is. Which is why we're now gonna move on to the good and what I like about this laptop. Okay, so very first thing, I love the touch screen. I love it. It is so convenient, it is so good, especially for zooming in, zooming out, and you know, scrolling. It's so much easier rather than trying to use the mouse trackpad or using your mouse itself. I've noticed the touchscreen is just so much easier and faster to use, especially when you're, you know, skimming Stack Overflow posts, you know, switching, that kind of thing. It's so nice to use a touchscreen, so I really, really like it. It's also really helpful when you're on Teams calls or collaboration calls and you're trying to explain an idea to one of your teammates, but they're not really getting it, so you need to draw it out. I've done that a couple of times and it's so helpful. Next, I already mentioned this in the intro, but the weight is so nice. This is light, it's thin, it's very portable. It's very nice to just, you know, touch physically and hold physically and move physically. And that's pretty much it. It's as easy as that. That is such a huge advantage. All right, the third benefit is it's aesthetic. I already mentioned this also in the intro, but look at this. It's black, it's matte, it's cute, it's thin, it's chic. What else do you want from a laptop? You know, visually, like this is beautiful. I would say this is a work of art, okay? This is a work of art visually. And lastly, for the fourth benefit is the camera is very, very nice. I've noticed that when I do have my camera on in Teams calls, the quality is very good. The contrast is very good. It's like, wow, that's nice. All right, so those are the advantages and disadvantages that I've noticed while using the Surface Laptop 4 15-inch for the last 3 months approximately as a developer. You know, take those with what you will, take them with a grain of salt, and kind of weigh them back and forth and understand, you know, what's important to you, what is your workload going to look like, how are you going to be using this daily, what do you need it for, and you know what, maybe the disadvantages won't apply to you, maybe they will, I'm not sure. So take them with what you will, and I hope this review helped you. All right, you know what I'm gonna say now? Until next time.